Smoking, particularly among women, has long been a subject of interest in the arts, especially in film. These relationships reflect complex cultural and social evolution. When women smoking appear in films, it often creates a particular image that influences society's perception of women's roles and identities. In recent decades, the representation of women smoking in film has undergone significant changes, reflecting changes in social, gender, and health norms. In the early era of cinema, women who smoked on screen were often depicted as bold and independent. A classic example can be seen in the film noirs of the 1940s and 1950s, where smoking women were often femme fatale characters. They are depicted as women who have power and control over their own destiny, contrary to the traditional stereotype of women being passive and submissive. Smoking became a symbol of rebellion and freedom, which appealed to many audiences. However, over time, the representation of women smoking in films changed. In the 1960s and 1970s, with the growth of the feminist movement, women smoking in films was often seen as a symbol of emancipation. They reflect women's struggle for equal rights and personal freedom. In many films of this era, women who smoke are portrayed as strong, independent characters who challenge social and gender norms. On the other hand, there are also negative representations that emerge. In the late 20th and early 21st centuries, with increasing awareness of the dangers of smoking, women who smoke in films are often portrayed as vulnerable or problematic characters. Smoking is a marker of social pressure, stress, and an inability to overcome life's challenges. In this context, smoking is no longer seen as a symbol of strength, but rather as a sign of weakness or damage. The relationship between women's smoking and film art has also been influenced by changes in film industry regulations and ethics. Anti-smoking campaigns and stricter laws regarding the depiction of smoking on screen have limited the representation of women smoking in films. Many film studios are now reluctant to feature characters who smoke, especially in films aimed at younger audiences. This indicates a shift in cultural perceptions of smoking and its impact on health. However, in some independent films and experimental art, women smoking still often appear as a symbol of resistance or an expression of individuality. Directors and screenwriters use this imagery to explore complex themes of identity, freedom, and rebellion against societal norms. Thus, despite restrictions, smoking remains a powerful artistic tool in cinema. Apart from that, women smoking in films is also often used to add depth to the character. For example, smoking can signal a difficult life experience, or be a coping mechanism for dealing with trauma. In some cases, smoking is used to create a certain atmosphere or mood in the scene, adding visual and atmospheric elements that support the narrative of the story. There is also an aesthetic aspect that cannot be ignored. In some films, smoking women are depicted in a very visual and aesthetic way, creating powerful and memorable images. Cigarette smoke, how to hold a cigarette, and interactions with other objects are often rendered stylishly, adding an element of artistic beauty to the film. This shows that smoking in films is not just about symbolism or characterization, but also about visual art itself. Overall, the relationship between women smoking and film art is a reflection of broader social and cultural changes. From symbols of rebellion and freedom to signs of distress and vulnerability, these representations reflect the evolution of society's views on women, identity, and health. Through the lens of the film, we can see how perceptions of women smoking have changed over time, and what that says about our values and beliefs. Through these representations, films not only reflect social reality, but also shape and influence our view of the world and ourselves. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next interesting content. See you in the next video.